What's up, good people? Welcome back to another episode of Undrafted Views. We're here. We talk sports from the sidelines. And today we're going to talk about the Chicago Bulls and what's going on in their season so far. Let's get into it.
Currently, the Chicago Bulls are number 3 in the Eastern Conference with a record of 6-3. They look pretty good and have a legit two-headed monster with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. But is it really time to go all in on the Bulls being top 6?
I'm going to say for me, not right now. And here's why. I like the Bulls and I'm rooting for them because I would love for them to be in the top 6. My only concern about them right now is three things: Zach LaVine's thumb, because he is currently playing injured. And if he goes out, and which I hope he doesn't, but if he goes out, it's going to change the trajectory of the Bulls. Number one. Number two, will Vooch stand up? Like, I'm waiting for him. Now, I know he has a slow start. I'm not expecting him to put up the same numbers he put up when he was with Orlando because the ball was filtered through him first. I get that. But there is something about his game that the Bulls roster needs, and they need for him to be their plus one. So I'm looking for that. And then the third thing I'm concerned about is the Bulls bench. Is it deep enough, and can they compete with the other bench players in the league on other rosters? That's a big gap for me. So I think that let me see how the Bulls fare in the next 5 games, because that's when they'll be playing, I think, a tougher schedule than what they've played in the past, considering the teams that they'll be up against. But I think that it's important to know what they'll do against that because we saw how they handled the 76ers. So, yeah, I say not right now for me because of those three reasons. What about you?
Okay. I don't have them top 6 yet. I say not yet as well. And primarily because I'm worried about the size in the middle. Okay. I originally thought maybe Vooch can help out, but when Patrick Williams went out, it seemed like Vooch slowed down. They need a big body in the middle. And I think the Bulls will have trouble with some of the big guys in the East, the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah. Clearly, the Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid giving them that work. Even Atlanta Hawks, and then Julius Randle, a bulldog in the middle. I think the Bulls will have trouble with them because Zach and DeMar DeRozan, they're great. Like I said, they're a two-headed monster, but they operate primarily on the perimeter in the mid-range, and you need that inside force for the Bulls. Right now, they don't have it.
Yeah, the thing about it is that I think that Vooch is supposed to be able to facilitate and fill in that gap. But his game is much more broader than that. He can shoot the three ball. So he's a great shot. He can shoot. We're not seeing that right now in his game. And I think it's taking him time to adjust to what this new scheme is. I mean, considering how he played with the Bulls last season when he was traded midseason to this season with DeMar DeRozan being another primary ball handler. And really at points during the game, he is the main person that the ball is going to go to that the team looks for. I heard in an interview that Billy Donovan did where they need to feed Vooch the ball more. They need to look for him. They need to start looking for him now. If he's going to be a major contributor to what this Bulls offensive team looks like, they need to look for him now and figure it out now, because once later in the season, mid-season, end of the season, they're going to find themselves possibly in the play-in tournament. So I think they have enough right now based on the other teams that they're up against. Then there's always outliers, 76ers, the Nets. Even when the Bucks get it together, that's going to be another outlier, right? We're talking about 3 core spots in the top 6 that the Bulls can potentially occupy at the end of the season if they can fix on getting Vooch, figuring out why his slow start is here and changing that up, right? Hopefully Zach LaVine is still healthy, because I'm still really worried about that. Sometimes I think his thumb compromises his control of the ball. Down the stretch, and we just need to see what that looks like. And then the bench. So I know that Vooch is going to be an intricate part of how successful the Bulls are, but that bench. Now, we're talking about when your top players need to sit out and you bring in the bench players. Now, I'm not saying that they're scrubs, don't get me wrong, and we had Ayo put up 14 points in one game, and that's all fine, but you're going to tell me that this bench can be able to fare up against the Heat? One-man show entirely hero?
No.
Oh, okay. What about the Warriors 5 guys?
No.
They're not gonna be. And when you have bench players really on these other teams helping these teams win games, what the Bulls bench gonna do? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, I don't know. What they'll need is Kobe White to come back. When he coming back, I know that he's
Yes.
right now released to go ahead and start practicing. I think I read somewhere he's doing 3-on-3s. I'm gonna need him back in the game because at least you can get some solid point production from him, and he's super fast anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, the bench
Kobe
is
averages 15 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. That's nice
exactly
coming off the bench.
yes.
Probably behind Lonzo Ball, who's right now giving you 11 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. I need more from Lonzo Ball. I've been riding Lonzo since the Los Angeles Lakers, New Orleans Pelicans. Now he's here with the Bulls. And now I will give Lonzo this. He seems to be enjoying the game more. He's in those passing lanes. He can get those steals, and he's a
Yeah.
great assistman. But I still need him to put up some buckets. I still need it. The three ball is, I don't think the three ball is his shot. He might need to move into the mid range.
Okay, so if he moves into the mid range, who will be their 3-point sniper? Because is it Zach LaVine? He's gonna be by himself?
No, Caruso can give you some off the bench. Caruso's more of a defender, but he
That's
can
what I'm
get you some
saying.
solid points.
So when I'm talking about the Bulls bench, I'm talking about on the offensive end. The defensive end, I think they're pretty solid. I think they can hang with a lot of the top teams. But that offense is what is inconsistent for me right now. So that's why I believe they really need Kobe White to come back to the lineup. I don't think that I have not seen who their 3-point sniper is because the strong mid-range game that DeMar DeRozan have is solid. I mean, he gonna get his spot and he's gonna get that basket. Zach LaVine is really good as well, but again, I think his thumb is hindering his play overall. Although he's still putting up nice numbers, his stat line looks great. Yeah, but if that thumb is not right, and I believe it's on his non-shooting hand too, but still, you still need that hand to manage the ball, at least to get the ball in order to put your shot up. So I just think that is something. I don't know, but who is that person? Is it going to be Kobe White? I don't know, but they need somebody because I can tell you right now, their bench is not going to be able to handle these other teams. It's just not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. I would venture to say it has to be Vooch. It has to be him. It absolutely has to. Now, I will say DeMar DeRozan currently averages about 20 shots a game. LaVine 26 shots, and Vooch only gets 10. I feel like when I'm watching the games, anytime LaVine gets the ball, he's going to shoot it. He reminds me a lot of Carmelo Anthony, where you throw it in, you don't expect it back. Like he's going to shoot the ball first. I don't know. I feel like LaVine probably shoots too much. I know he's a shooting guard. That's what he's supposed to do. But it would be nice to see his assists up. Right now, he's averaging 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists for a guy who has the ball in his hands a lot. He could dish it a little bit just to share and get Vooch involved, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a change in the dynamics of how LaVine plays. He has to get used to playing with 2 additional superstars, and we're talking about Vooch is a 2-time NBA All-Star, and DeMar DeRozan. Let me just tell you, and I tell you, he's like the light bulb for that man can play. Okay, he can play right now, but what I'm saying is, I think LaVine, because he had to carry the load himself in the previous seasons with the Bulls, it's going to take an adjustment for him as well. So not only is Vooch trying to find his spot, his rhythm, then we need Zach LaVine to be able to figure out how he can share the ball and knowing that it's okay to share it. He doesn't have to carry the load this season because he has 2 other players, dominant players, that can also help him out. So I think it's understanding what that looks like. And that doesn't mean that Zach LaVine, you still can't be the man. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, how do you make yourself okay with sharing the ball?
Yeah. Okay, so the Chicago Bulls played the Philadelphia 76ers back-to-back games. Now, mind you, Philadelphia played 3 games in 4 nights. And the Chicago Bulls could not figure out a way how to contain Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, what should we make of this 2-game skid? I mean, you play the same team back-to-back. You got to make adjustments, right?
Yeah, but I'm not. The loss to the 76ers doesn't concern me in this regard. Joel Embiid is the man. Why don't we know that, right? So is it really, how do we stop Joel Embiid, or how do we make sure we stop the other players? Right?
Well, hey.
So Joel Embiid is going to put up his point. Now Vooch did do a good job at having Embiid adjust his game in their first matchup. because he didn't
Okay.
put up as many points as he did in the second game that they played
Mm-hmm.
with the Bulls. So I know that, but then again, if the Bulls continue to start off slow, number one, and they have to always play to try to remove a deficit, it's not sustainable. I don't know if the Bulls' strategy should have been stop Embiid. You can't.
You
Like, you
cannot stop
cannot.
him.
So what
No.
I'm saying is this: if you can't stop Embiid, who else is going to put him some points? Now I know that when I say put up points, I am not talking about DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. I really am not. I'm talking about the other role players, because even though Embiid plays very well, that Korkmaz,
Ooh, he lit
Seth
him up.
Curry,
He lit him up.
Seth Curry,
The
like
Sixers are playing without Tobias Harris, Danny Green, and Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons is a non-factor to me. He's not playing.
Okay,
Well.
okay. Still playing without two.
What I'm saying is, in their first matchup with the 76ers, Tobias Harris didn't play. And I don't think Danny Green played either, because he was, he had just suffered his hamstring injury.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you got Seth Curry, Korkmaz, Niang.
Niang was lighting them up too.
Okay, so when I'm looking at the 76ers roster, and then I'm looking at the Bulls roster, who are the other role players? Like, who are they that's going to give them? It should be Lonzo Ball, but it's not, right? Really, that's what I'm saying. They need to figure out a way to unleash the missing piece of Vooch, because he is the one. He should be playing like Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Really, in maybe a secondary or third position, but he needs to be playing something like that, because that's Joel Embiid. I don't care. You're not going to stop Joel Embiid. So that's what I'm saying. I don't expect the Bulls to stop Joel Embiid. I don't expect the Bulls to outscore Joel Embiid. But what I do expect the Bulls to figure out is how they can outscore them other players. That's what I'm saying. And that was missing for me in both games.
It was. And that's why I said I believe the Bulls will have trouble with some of the bigs in the Eastern Conference, not even mention the West. Now Joel Embiid, the first game he hit 18 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, went 6 for 18 from the field. So maybe Vooch did, do a little something. But that second game, Joel Embiid, come on, 3 games and wait, no, he didn't play. He didn't play the middle game in between. I think it was against Detroit. He didn't play. So he was rested, but he dropped 30 points, 15 rebounds, got 14 rebounds on the defensive end, 3 assists and 2 blocks, completely outplayed everybody on the court. It was unbelievable. I mean, this guy, he's inside, he's outside. You can't contain him. He's throwing punches at Lonzo on accident. I mean, he's just, it's amazing. He's really showing out.
He's an amazing player. And so not only for the Bulls, but other teams need to figure out what they're going to do around that. It's how do you manage around that? Because he's going to get, big as he is, he's going to get his spot. He's going to get his, and he's a great shooter. Like, so,
yeah, he's good.
So how do you work around that? Because I think that's what these other teams need to try to strategize against. Because if you think you're going to stop Joel Embiid, you can forget about it. The only way to stop Joel Embiid is an injury. So, and let me tell you why I know that the 76ers knew that the Bulls were a threat, could be a potential threat. He didn't play in the game before with Portland. He, what they call it now, injury management.
Oh God,
y'all. So we no longer use the term load management. Okay, whatever. So now it's injury management. He didn't play. Then he played with the Bulls. He didn't play that middle game, and then he played the Bulls again. Yeah. So the East know that the Bulls can potentially be a threat. However, if they don't figure out how to manage their play, involve Vooch, and figure out what that bench is going to do, I don't see it for the Bulls remaining in the top 6. That's all I'm saying. I want them there, though, because I think they would be a great if they can figure out those 2 pieces for me, and Zach LaVine can continue to be healthy. I really think they can be very competitive in the long term in the East. But
yeah, Zach LaVine is a certified bucket. Oh my God,
yes,
he's
but a lingering injury, a thumb at that, and he has a torn ligament in it.
Yeah.
So I just don't know. I just know that they need Kobe White to come back immediately. And we just need the other role players to be consistent. That's all. So if AO can put up another 14 points in the next 5 games, I mean, look, the Bulls are going to be playing in the next 5 games, the Nets, Dallas, Warriors, Clippers, and Lakers.
It's test time. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out what they're made of right now.
And I can tell you right now, I would be shocked if the Bulls will win against the Warriors. Not with that shooting. It's not going to happen. So I'm thinking out of the 5 games, they can probably come up with at least 2 wins. Well, maybe 3 if depending on who's on the Lakers roster at the time the game starts. I just don't know.
And then, hey, shoot, Luka with his last minute theatrics, you just never know.
And you don't want Luka to have the ball at the end of the game. So, yeah, I just think the Bulls have an opportunity. They do need to fix some things. It is what we're 10 games into the season at this time that we're speaking. So I get it. This is all, some may see as nitpicking. I see it as forecasting. So just be prepared on some things that, this is just my opinion on how I see things. And others may have another thing they're looking at. But to be all in on the Bulls right now, for me, is not yet. Not yet. We'll talk again to see maybe in the next 5 or 6 games, I may be like, yeah. Because this past the stretch that they get ready to go through may be enough to say they got it.
Okay. All right. So currently right now, like we said, they're number 3. They're tied with the Brooklyn Nets, New York Knicks, and the Washington Wizards. That can change, that can change in an instant, especially depending on how these next 5 games go for the Chicago Bulls. So,
one thing I also want to mention is that there's 2 teams right now that the Bulls really need to watch out for, and they're not currently in the top 6. And that team is the Raptors and the Bucks, right? So when we're talking about the top 6, it's not that many slots. And so when you have the Bucks, I'm still waiting on them. They will be top 6 by the end of the year, I think, especially once their roster is healthy again. And then the Raptors are not doing too bad. So the fluctuation in who will be in the top 6 by the end of the year can change greatly. So although we think about, look who's in the top 6, and you got the Knicks, and you got, who is it? The Wizards you just mentioned, Knicks, Wizards, and Nets.
Yep.
76ers, and there's one other team. You know who they are. You can check NBA.com if you want to see it. But anyway, those teams are in the top 6. But then there's 2 other teams that, for real, at any given day can actually be in the top 6, and that would be the Raptors and eventually the Bucks. So we cannot miss that those teams will also be something that the Bulls will have to figure out a way to maintain their spot by winning the games that they can win, which will give them enough wins to maintain their 1 through 6 spot, because it can change like that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap up this episode on the Chicago Bulls. Make sure you drop down in the comments and let us know what you think about the Chicago Bulls right now. Is it time to go all in with them being top 6 in the East? And what do you make of this 2-game skid with the Chicago Bulls and the Philadelphia 76ers? Drop down in the comments. Let us know. We will see you guys on the next one. But until then,
peace.
Peace, y'all.